here with myself, Timothy, Asi, and Dimitris. Welcome, Dimitris. We're gonna talk about Nvidia. We're gonna talk about Trump. We're gonna talk about stocks, crypto, and if you have questions, you're feel free to ask them in the chat, and we will reply them. The stream itself won't be very long. It will be 20 minutes, 30 minutes at best. So make sure to stick to the end. So yeah, let us know also if you can hear us very well. If there's an issue, you can put it in the chat. All right. So yeah, Dimitris, yesterday we had Nvidia earnings after the bell, and they beat expectations. And today they're up around 5%. I'm not sure how much now, but I thought during the trading day was around 5%. Um, Explain to us like how was the earnings? How do you see Nvidia right now?
Okay, so hello everyone, first of all. And so Nvidia was interesting because leading to the earnings, it was from the restrictions from the Trump administration towards China. They were supposed to take a 5.5 billion hit um, of revenue, restricted selling the chips to China. So it was a lot of pressure on Nvidia how they're going to report this quarter. The expectations came down. So the estimates that they beat yesterday, they were lowered once we knew that they took a hit of 5.5 billion. Despite that, the estimate was 75 cents per share, and they reported 85, I believe. The revenue estimate was 43 billion, and they reported 44. The only thing that I noticed is that um, more revenue than than the previous quarter, but less earnings per share, which suggests lower margins, which was the case. It went from 70% to 50%, and that attributed to um, the restrictions they have. But other than that, every Nvidia is positioned well for the next at least 2 quarters, even though we are not short-term investors. We are we have like a long-term view, but for the next 2 quarters, I'm bullish on Nvidia. What about you?
Yeah, I just want to look at the chart and see how it's doing. Let me pull it up. Then we can see how it's performing in the last weeks actually. Because yeah, we had a serious dip in in price due to the tariffs. So what you see here right now is like the chart of Nvidia and all my levels I would buy based on the intrinsic value. So my calculated value is around 130. So right now Nvidia is a bit overvalued. And when it dropped in April, I was actually buying on the way down when it hit the first level, then the second, and then the third. And you can see that this move in the last few weeks is really steep. So I'm really impressed, like how much it went down, because it was something around, yeah, it was over 40% down in like a few weeks. But now in less than 2 months it's now up 60%. So it's just clear to me that people are willing to buy Nvidia at any time, any market condition, because it's the number one player in the AI space, you know. So one of the important players in the AI space. So that's why I mean, every dip that comes for Nvidia should be a buy in my opinion. And that's exactly what I've been doing in my portfolio. I hold around 6% Nvidia, which is the top 6 allocation in my portfolio. So I'm pretty bullish on Nvidia in the long term. But yeah, besides Nvidia being down 40% in like a few months, I also have like this question: what do we learn from all this? Because you don't only have Nvidia going down 40%, you have Google going down 50%, you have Amazon, you have Microsoft going down 30-40%, and now they all recovered almost near all-time highs. So I mean, what's the one lesson you would learn from all of this?
Hmm, that's a good question. Um, so these, I mean, we agree that these companies that you just mentioned, they are the best companies in the world, correct? We
The
agree.
Max 7.
The Max 7, yeah. I mean, if you want to exclude Tesla, fine, but the rest of the Max 7 are the best companies in the world, and nobody's disputing that. They have an unbelievable amount of cash. So they can do acquisitions, they can do capex, they can pay a dividend, they can do a bunch of things. So if you are an investor and you're not owning at least some of them, okay, maybe you don't like Apple because I don't like Apple, okay? It's not about company, it's not just my taste. But I like Meta and I like Amazon, I like Microsoft. I think they must you must include them in some capacity in your portfolio. Now, when the market goes down, they're gonna lead the way down, and it's painful. And because they are so public, the media loves to write bad stories about them. You know, DOJ probing them. I mean, Google and Microsoft have been in the news since the beginning of the year, and they love to write bad news about them because they sell. So it's something you have to be prepared as an investor. But in my opinion, they are must-haves in any portfolio in some capacity. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, in my opinion, so whenever you have a stock that is outperforming the stock market, the S&P, you'll know in bull markets it will go higher and outperform the S&P, but in bear markets or corrections, those are the stocks that get hammered the most because of profit taking and, like you said, news, negative sentiment, all of those things people start to doubt because the focus always lies on those companies. But behind the surface, you have like a real solid company, a cash king, companies that don't have a lot of debt. They actually have a wide moat, meaning they have a competitive advantage. And those are things that work in the long term, because in the short term, yes, you can have fluctuations, it can be very volatile, but these are the companies that will always do good even when there's a recession. All right. And indeed, these Mac 6 companies, excluding Tesla, are really companies that continue to earn every year more and more consistently. So each year they earn consistently more and more and more and more. Sometimes they'll have like a year with a few missed earnings, but that doesn't mean the fundamentals have changed. Some stocks are cyclical, like Google, for example, in ad revenue. When there's a recession, you can expect the ad revenue to go down, which is normal. So you have to take into account that all these factors, um, the macro factors that are influenced by the news and politicians, they're only noise. If you focus on the business, you know that the business is doing good. So whenever Trump is saying, "Oh, I'm putting tariffs on Europe," or I'm doing another sanction, or whenever there's a black swan event like the pandemic, you have to ask yourself, is it short term or is it long term, the issue? And usually with these companies, I don't really see an issue in the long term. So for me, that's an easy buy. When I love it when there's bad news about a company, and the company drops without the fundamentals have changed, you know. So that's really how I look at these companies. And the lesson learned here is, even with all the bad news we had in the last weeks, if you simply had pressed the buy button, you would have been profitable. I mean, and how bad it may seem at the moment, because it can mess with your mind. I was bearish. I was saying like we could go lower, but still I was buying the stock. And that's just following the plan, and sticking to the strategy. So that's the lesson for me that I've learned, is to, yeah, stick to the strategy, focus on the great businesses that you know will thrive in bad and good times. And now we see the profits by holding only 2 months, less than 2 months. All right. And going further, actually, a bit more into the Trump section. Last night we had news about a federal judge, yeah, a federal judge saying that he cannot impose these tariffs. What's the news on that?
Okay, so a federal judge said that it's unconstitutional for the president doesn't have the authority to impose tariffs or something along those lines. And this is not good news in my opinion, because it delays the process. You know what? Just let him put the tariffs, let him negotiate, let's get this thing over with. Okay, so now we're delaying the process. Now we're gonna go to the Supreme Court, and everything becomes so public, and it's going to take longer. And the president has the authority to use other measures if he wants to impose tariffs. He can claim them as national security. And under the umbrella of national security, he can do whatever he wants. Okay? And you don't want to go there because Trump is going to get his way one way or another. I'm not saying that judge did not do the right thing. I'm just saying that whatever happens just complicated the process, because in the meantime, the European the Europeans are negotiating with the Americans. It was reported that they were getting close. So now, if you are the European and you see that the judge is postponing this, what are you doing? Are you keep negotiating? Are you postponing the negotiations? And then this at this gonna delay the conclusion of the tariffs a bit further. So as a consumer, maybe it's a good thing. As an investor, it just adds to the uncertainty, not uncertainty, adds to the continuation of the tariff story a bit further. But if we just left Trump to do his thing, right or wrong, I mean, I don't agree with exactly what he's doing, but a resolution was in sight, at least with Europe and with with the allies, and then with China, they have like 60 more days to negotiate. So within by the end of the summer, this whole thing could be over. But this development last night just complicated things a bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Dimitris, we're hearing in the chat that people can't hear you. Yeah, just for the record, if you can hear him a bit, that's normal. His voice today by the stream is a bit diminished. Dimitris is going to try speak a bit louder.
Okay, I'll speak
to,
louder.
so people can hear him. But yeah, I think if you hear nothing at all, let us know. But I just did a check and I was hearing him very good actually. Now, yeah, that was a good explanation. So my first feeling was like, this is bullish for the market, for the economy actually, because I was never a fan of tariffs. But in the other hand, I'm like, yeah, isn't Trump just gonna be Trump and ignore all that shit?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and eventually just go on with his plan. And then also, even on that news, we're seeing the market not really responding very bullish. I mean, it was up at the start of the trading day. Now we're seeing even Nvidia dropping most of its gains, meaning that in the short term, maybe it, the market looks a bit overbought.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be bullish, in the long term, but in the short term, there's all these factors where, um, yeah, people are taking profits, and it's impossible to predict the market in the short term. So that's why I think also Bitcoin is taking a break. Don't forget, Bitcoin was around 74K
Mm-hmm.
2 months ago. Now it sits at 106, 107K. That's around 40% gain in less than 2 months without a decent correction. So we should be cautious that in the short term, the market isn't listening to the news. Yeah, it can be a short term dip, which is very normal. And yeah, for example, for Bitcoin, it would still be like in a long term uptrend if it tests below 100K at around 94K. That would be still a decent opportunity within the uptrend, in my opinion. And yeah, I don't know, are you watching any specific stocks right now that you're saying that is becoming attractive, or even crypto, in your opinion?
So crypto, I'm looking to Ethereum. I was looking into it the last 4 or 5 days. Then it got like couple of good days at the beginning of the week. So I'm just waiting for a good entry point. As far as stocks, um, so the way I do it is I was buying the Max 7 when everyone was selling the Max 7. So now everyone is buying the Max 7. So I'm not going to be buying the Max 7. I'm going to be buying whatever everyone else is selling. And my portfolio is not just tech, it's financials, it's consumer staples. So the consumer staples at this time are taking a little bit of a beating, and it's maybe a good opportunity to add to those. I'm referring to PHS Wholesale and a little bit of Walmart. Okay, Walmart is holding, but um, so I'm looking to add to those. Um, nothing new as far new positions I'm looking to include in the portfolio. I usually look into what I already have, looking to increase. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in looking for more and more and more and more stuff. It makes the whole process more difficult, in my opinion. How many positions can you really know and keep up with? My number is 22, 23. After 23, and I'm like lost. It's too much. If you're actually following the news and the earnings and all that, it's actually too much. So I'm currently at 18, and I think it's like the happy medium. But yeah, I'm looking a bit of the defensive part of the portfolio to add to it, and then we're gonna get some bad news for whatever reason because that's what markets do. We're gonna get some bad news. The Max 7 are gonna come down, and then I'm gonna buy the Max 7, and that's the way it works. Sounds simple, not really, but that's how I do it.
Rinse and repeat. Rinse
Yeah,
and repeat.
reason repeat.
No,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, something you
What
said about buying the same stocks, I like that a lot because I also don't like to spread too much.
hmm
And when you have like your core stocks or crypto that you dig deep into, you check the fundamentals, you check the price, and it's one of your favorites in your portfolio. You should accept to just hold them and buy more of them instead of always trying to buy new stuff, because one, it's difficult to keep up with, as you said, all the earnings, but two, are they really better than the stocks you're already holding? Like, why would you buy uh, the second within the AI space if you have Nvidia, for example?
Okay. Okay. Go on, and I'm
I
gonna.
don't know, do you have like do you
I
have
have
like a
I
stock?
have AMD. I have AMD.
AMD?
Yes, and the reason I do
and
have
and
AMD, I
how has it performed against Nvidia?
not well, but uh, I mean, since I bought it in April, I'm up 15% or something. So I have a decent gain on it. But my thinking, it wasn't that I was greedy and I wanted more chips, more chips. It was the realization that Nvidia can only produce so many chips and they are expensive.
And then they're gonna go to an AMD.
Yes, and it's not everyone can afford those expensive chips. I'm sure Meta and Amazon and Microsoft can afford them, but not everyone can afford the top of the line, most expensive, and they can't make them fast enough. I think Nestor was saying the backlog is 6 months, and Elon Musk was in the interview with CNBC. He said that he's gonna keep buying chips from Nvidia, but he also said that he's gonna buy from AMD as well because they are cheaper. So it makes a difference. So I'm not gonna own five different semiconductor companies, and my exposure to AMD is not nearly the size I have on Nvidia because Nvidia is my top conviction when it comes
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
But yeah, I have the number two, but I don't have the number twos in other sectors. Maybe AMD just the exception.
Yeah. So there was another point you said, which was very interesting about, yeah, buying Ethereum, and I
hmm
just wanna share again my screen because there's something I've found not this morning. I've been tracking it for a number of weeks now. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
So when you look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, you can see that it's now trading like at very low levels, not
hmm
seen since 2019. But actually, the recent correction has taken out this swing low here in 2020,
hmm
and right now we're seeing the monthly candle being like uber bullish. Like, look at that candle, it's up 30% against Bitcoin, and knowing that Bitcoin is up, I'm not sure, but it's up a lot already against the dollar. So that's 13% Bitcoin this month, and then you have 30 percent, which together makes it around 40% up this month for Ethereum,
hmm
which is pretty good. And in my opinion, it's like the beginning of something where it can go up maybe and to test this resistance level at around 60 percent higher. So imagine if Bitcoin continues to go up and Ethereum goes up another 60% higher. I mean, that's the reason why I bought some Ethereum in a couple of days, weeks even, and also some Pepe. I don't know if you follow Pepe, but Pepe is actually like a leverage trade on Ethereum because whenever Ethereum goes up, Pepe goes up, and it's been trading really, really strong, trading above some key levels here. And in the short term, I would say at least test this resistance level above, and then I will be happy. But yeah, so that's cool that you also noticed Ethereum, and I was also watching it like on my watch list to finally add a bit more, because yeah, it has been hammered a lot in the past years. So I think that will turn around and will be the big crypto play for the next couple of months. Of course, we know that when Ethereum goes up and Bitcoin doesn't, it usually means we're in the ending phase of the cycle. Maybe something I wanna share something again, and that's where we are in the cycle. So if you look at Bitcoin's cycle, let's go to the monthly. You know that it moves in 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? The 4 year cycle. And the green box is basically the bullish period for Bitcoin within that 4 year cycle. The red box is usually the bear market within the 4 year cycle. And you can see that right now, Bitcoin, I mean, it's at month 30, and we only have 6 months left within this green box. Now it could go a bit further. I'm not saying like it has to stop here, but we're not near the early stages anymore of Bitcoin cycle. So I would say if Ethereum blast into, let's say, the $4,000, maybe $5,000, that would for me be like a warning sign for the whole crypto market, that it's again a bit toppy and ready to move lower. So I don't know, like, how do you plan to take profit? Because that's what I'm basically watching, for me to slowly take profits and cut my positions into crypto. So I'm not sure, like, what are you watching to finally take some profits, or do you just basically hold for forever in your portfolio?
So once I, once the crypto goes down more 10-12% of the portfolio, then I start taking profits. I don't care what part of the cycle it is.
How much is it now?
I believe seven,
Oh, so
six
you
and a
need at
half,
least a
maybe
double, a
seven.
triple
Yeah.
to start taking
So
profits.
yes, so I'm going, and I'm up 80% on Solana, and I'm flat with Ethereum, so I'm not like down a lot, um, which is like put pressure for me to take profits. Um, so because I noticed after the 10-12%, once your portfolio gets more than 10-12% of crypto, then it becomes volatile. And it doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers my hobbyers. And you can have a good year with equities, and Ethereum can mess up your year. It can mess up your quarter or your month. So I always like to keep them in check. Sentiment is something I'm looking at. You know, when the greedy people start joining in at the top, when the people that hate Bitcoin all of a sudden they super bullish on Bitcoin or Ethereum and all that, those are warning signs. Uh, yeah, and I listen to you guys, you and Mimi, your thoughts about what the market is doing, and you have to combine all the information available to you and make a decision. In the end, you can look all the charts you want, but you have to make a decision. Is it now? Is it like in 2 weeks? I should have done it like 2 weeks ago. So that's the job. You have to hear the information and make a decision. Hopefully, you make a right decision. Uh, so yeah, I'm not as technical as you are, but yeah, I have my way of doing it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's interesting, and it aligns a bit with my strategy. Also looking at the psychological part as well. I would say like Trump being bullish on Bitcoin and launching his own meme token was an absolute top signal. So I'm not sure what the next top signal will be. So we're gonna see about that. No, um, that's actually all we had to discuss today. We had stocks, crypto. We talked about Trump. We talked about Nvidia. Um, I don't see any questions in the chat.
We don't have any questions.
Um, so
We don't have any questions
so
on the chat.
I guess that's short and sweet for today. I
Mhm.
would say check out the portfolios in eToro. You can follow Dimitris. You can follow myself, Timothy. And if you have any questions, you can just reach out. We have our socials, LinkedIn, on the platform as well. So thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time for the next episode. Bye.
Bye, everyone.